We're just getting started. We're just getting started, so just give us a second. Good timing, too. I totally didn't realize what time the stream was happening. I thought this wasn't until noon on Eastern Standard Time, but I was so wrong. Hey, guys. Welcome to the stream. Let's see if I can make it so I'm on camera again. Da-da-da-da-da. There we go. But what we don't need is all of the overlay stuff. I don't like clicking at all. All right. Hey, we're live. Star Citizen time. This is starting. I think this is gonna be like a yearly thing now, where we all hang out and we watch the stream together. Wasted will be joining us later. He had some running around to do. Neither one of us, we did our conversions wrong, and we thought this was starting like 3 hours ahead of when it actually was starting. So I woke up, sat down, was like, all right, time to get ready for the stream. And sure enough, they're having a little bit of an issue, it looks like, the stream. Sure enough, it was starting in like 4 minutes, which ended up taking 33 minutes, so they're late by about a half hour. And it looks like they're having some streaming issues, because it keeps clicking on and off, but anywho, morning everybody. If you don't know what this is, CitizenCon's going on today. The big Star Citizen convention. So far, we've been streaming it every year. Myself, Wasted, have been streaming all the Star Citizen events where we talk over it. If you're looking to watch this without me getting in the way on camera and audio-y, then you can click the link in the description. It'll take you straight to their Twitch page and you can watch it live in all its glory. But this is the good-natured series where we poke fun at Star Citizen at the same time as get really pumped for what's to come. Because I'm definitely excited about the title. I love space sims. And I'm trying to move my camera over to the corner so I'm not like awkwardly in the middle of the screen. Oh, come on, Star Citizen. You guys can do it, I have faith. You can have a smooth stream. I believe in you. I believe in you. There we go, there's my camera. Oh, I lied. We still got some time. Looks like they're still sitting everybody down. Oh, hey, Luca, thank you so much for the £2. Says, just here to say, hey, Shaq. Well, hey. Hope your morning is going well, or went well. Let me know how the audio is, guys, while we get all everything set up. I think the stream may be down. Oh, it's back. It's back.
Hi, everybody.
There's Huckabee.
Welcome to Citizen Exploring New Worlds. I'm your host for today's broadcast, community content manager Jared Huckabee. We are live in the Capitol Theater in beautiful, sunny, maybe not quite so sunny Frankfurt, Germany on this fine October 27th, 2017.
Morning, guys.
Folks are filing into our main theater area right now as we get started.
Look at that beard.
In just a few moments, we'll be starting off
Citizen
the
last time we streamed this. They had all three of the community managers lined up with these big old beards.
We've had 5 of these so far. In just a few minutes, like I said, Chris Roberts will take the stage. We have a couple special guests. We have a plethora of activities planned for today. Would you say we had a plethora of activities? Yes, I'd say we have a plethora of activities. I normally have somebody here with me, but today I don't.
All right, I'm gonna turn this down. This is gonna be the build-up. Stream's having some trouble, some issues. Come on.
We do have
there we go.
Manager at a Foundry for you, Ulf Kirchner. Hey, Ulf.
Last time they were supposed to show a bunch of Squadron 42 stuff, and then they didn't. So hopefully we're gonna see that this year. What I expect to see, because I've heard this year's CitizenCon is all about actually people there getting their hands on with 3.0, which is we're still waiting on. Hopefully we have a release. I'm hoping that Chris Roberts comes up on goes up on stage and just says, oh, by the way, 3.0, it's now out to play, update. That's what I hope he says. He didn't say that. And he just drops the mic, walks away. But we're gonna have this build up. It's probably gonna do this for the next 20 minutes. So now is the time. Go make your coffee. I've already made mine. Do your thing, and then I bet you anything, top of the hour, they're gonna start it. Yep, Blitz, Squadron 42 would be good. Did Jared just go for a Three Amigos joke? He might have. Eric's like, I'd rather play EVE Online. I played EVE for 6 years. It's good, but man, the combat is boring. And then the new update is all about mining. They improved mining by adding more mining. The most mindless thing you can do in that game. Just about. It's right up there next to ship spinning.
Those presentations are that we have going on this week. I'm going to take this thing out of my ear because people are having conversations. We've got enhancing
because people are talking to my ear and it's hard to hear what's going on. Blitz or Tex, if you guys want to jump into the Discord, you guys are welcome to hang out with me. I've got like 20 minutes till this thing starts. We can BS about Star Citizen while we wait. What was last year's the one with the giant worm? I'm starting to get my events mixed up. I love the like epic desert trek that they did in that one. I don't know if that was last year's or not.
With the head IK video where they did the head stabilization with the bob and
I don't remember now. I do know. Okay, so the things that I was talking about were the things that I want to see while I answer your guys' questions. I want to see more of the face-over IP. Oddly enough, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm never going to use that." As a content creator, I definitely want to check that out more. I want to see if they've improved it because it was a little wonky when they were showing it off the last show. And if you don't know what that is, they literally have a webcam set up that watches your facial expressions and then imports them into the game and changes your character's facial expressions. So when you talk, your character talks. When you like make faces, your character will do the same thing. So, which is pretty cool. They also had directional audio and distance-based audio, which was neat. I want to see and hear more about that. Third-party companies doing the face-over IP stuff. It's not something that's brand new. We've seen this before. Yeah, that was the desert worm. The one that kind of bugged out and they played it twice. It was still cool though. I'm really excited about going exploring on these planets and actually having something on the planets worth seeing and not just created by a random algorithm generator. Looking at you, No Man's Sky. But things actually created by an artist that are meant for people to discover and actually feel like I've discovered something and not just ran into what in the world is flying around in the background of the set. Beach balls. They're a beach balls. Yellow and black beach balls. Fantastic. Christopher, stop spamming questions. You will get banned. And X3 has been answered 1,000 times. We are waiting until 1.0 comes out. So. What else? What else? So the last stream we had the capital ship combat. I want to see more of that. I want to see more Star Citizen or Squadron 42, the single player experience. Do I have mine? No, I don't.
What other word for it is there? It's a game changer.
A little more, you little less stream. All right, let me bring that down. I'm gonna bring my audio up, bring them down, because they're just gonna be talking about the most recent YouTube videos that they put out. They've done a lot of bug fixing. That's what we've been waiting on for 3.0. Shaq, is there any ships coming out in 3.0 you want to get your hands on? Not in 3.0. I think I've gotten my hands on the ships that I'm really interested in thus far that I'm not really excited about earning in the game. Once it comes out, because you can get all the ships. I feel like I'm robbing myself of experience by buying stuff, but the Carrack is what I want. And we're not supposed to be seeing that until like 3.3 or something like that. So we got a long time until that comes out. But that's the one with the big bay door that opens up at the front, kind of exploration-y, has a hangar bay on the top. Really cool looking bridge. That's the one that I'm excited about. But I feel like I'm robbing myself of an experience. I'm going to just turn on some music while we wait, because they're just going to be interviewing random people. Because the joy of working with your friends to earn like a ship of your very own and then going and exploring out in that ship and using that ship, part of me is like, oh man, should I not have bought the Carrack? Because then I could have used, I have a freelancer too. I could have used my freelancer to make money and fight pirates and then bought a Carrack, and it would have meant more to me than just being kind of handed one. Because I busted out my wallet, 7, 8, 9 months ago. I don't know. I'm of two minds, because part of me is like, yeah, Carrack, I want to jump in, run around, explore, push all the buttons. But to answer your question, that would be it. What's your favorite thing about Star Citizen? I would have to say the concept, like the general concept of, hey, let's have this ridiculous budget for what it is, and let's pour it into making it not the most competitive or the most balanced or the most, like all these buzzwords that you hear about games, but focus on the word immersion. for a game, which is something you don't really hear about anymore. I used to hear about that all the time. We're making a sandbox. Origin's old title for Ultima Online, we create worlds, you know, that kind of living universe is the focus, or world. Ultima Online was big on that. That one even had, I remember them talking about adding in an entire like life cycle where creatures would hunt each other and stuff in that. And those are the kind of projects you don't really hear about anymore. Now it's just, oh, the next class and the next competitive thing that we're adding, the next dungeon if it's an MMO. But you don't hear about like, let's make it feel like a living sandboxy world, which is what Star Citizen is trying to do. So that's probably what makes me most excited about it, is that concept of let's focus on immersion and not on the gamey MMO side of things. So, not sure you saw it, but the Pioneer ship will be base building. Can we say Armco base? Yes. Have they confirmed base building? They've gone back and forth with it. Chris Roberts has talked about it's totally a possibility, and then they started working on the modularity of some of the building structures on planets, and I was thinking, wow, that screams some simple base building mechanics, and now they've said the Pioneer will allow you to build spaces? I'll have to go back and watch. I haven't watched the most recent Around the Verse episode, so I've actually got the Legacy Armor update video up now, and I'm about halfway through it, so they're updating all the Legacy Armors. Where do you see Star Citizen in a year? I see them struggling to get the network side of things like fully running, because I think that's going to be one of their biggest challenges, is how many players can they fit inside, like in a world space fighting each other. So I imagine that's going to be the future challenges that we're going to be hearing about them constantly iterating and working on, because this year has been strongly, it looks from an outsider's perspective, strongly in the camp of let's get the base mechanics in, right? So the mounting system for gear and equipment, the customization system for weapons, the rework of the ships to work with the upgrade modules and all that. I mean, there's so many like base things. The marketplace, the UI interface, these things that they're working on right now to get 3.0 out have been kind of the focus of the year, is fleshing out their tool set to make this stuff work. And so I'm thinking we're gonna see a lot this coming year. We're gonna see a lot more content and a lot less tools. That's what I'm hoping, which is gonna be great. It's gonna seem like all of a sudden they just like switched gears and now they're in full on, every month they're showing us new crazy shit they're adding to the universe, instead of like, hey, here's the tool set to make these things work. So, where in a year? Somewhere along those random lines. Welcome to the maze that is my brain. Let me turn the music down. I turned down the stream and then I turned up my music. Yeah, they're just interviewing like random people now. Arena Commander show. Have you seen the new consolidated Outlander Pioneer yet? And thanks for the 8 USD. Appreciate it, Commander Jack. Let me look it up real quick. Isn't the Pioneer? Try on. Thanks, man. I will check it out in just a second. I'm totally like. Oh shit! Look at that. No, I haven't seen the Pioneer. Oh, concept pledge for 850. Is that right? I'm looking at the Star Citizen wiki page. The Consolidated Outland Pioneer is an up-and-coming.
Good morning.
Yeah. Well, hello, Tex.
Howdy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. You just voices in my head. You made me jump. I wasn't expecting it. We're talking about a new ship that I haven't heard of yet.
The Pioneer?
Yeah, the Pioneer. It looks like some type of colony construction vessel.
Yeah, I saw the page on it, and I know that 2 of our members actually have one, but I don't really know a lot of specifics. I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to work into the base building system. There's something about like a UEE claim.
Okay.
I hope you didn't hope that I was going to provide like incisive commentary.
No, you're fine. I have been behind in my watching of the most recent Around the Verse episode, so I've missed this. I'm really hoping to have a huge segment on this, because this is epic. Because for the longest time, Chris Roberts in interviews talked about like the possibility of base building, but nothing was locked down, because that would be adding a fairly large feature to the game. But it looks like this is going to be a thing. Utilizing an onboard reserve of resources, the Pioneer can construct your new home on site, as well as continue to build once your new settlement is up and running. Whether you are simply looking to build it, I sound like like a commercial for this. Whether you're simply looking to build a little respite far away from the noise and chaos of day-to-day life, or you're bringing civilization to the frontier, Pioneer will make your dream a reality. Order today.
That sounds like this is ideal for orgs.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. Armco, like straight up operation base on some moon on the rim. I love it. Tryon, actually, he donated 20 bucks. He says Armco is sitting on 2 Pioneers and they each have a UEE claim. So 2 Armco bases up and coming. But the question now I have, and I bet you'll agree with me on this, is what will those bases do for us? Like,
yeah, I know. It'd be interesting to see if there's any sort of functionality in the game that those bases give you, or if they're just sort of... I mean, there's 2 different ways they can go about it. Either the bases can sort of afford you an advantage as an organization, or they could be like a role-playing sort of hub, where like pirates come in and attack, and you have to fight them off, and then the UEE comes riding to the rescue, or if you've got an illegal base, then the pirates just come and take you over. I mean, there's... Okay. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that.
So you're thinking, like, if you build this... Oh, hey, Blitz.
Hello.
Hello,
it's a wild Blitz.
It's a wild Blitz appears.
So the other option is you could just create a secret moon base and become a villain. Become Dr. Evil.
I need a laser on that, please. The Alan Parsons Project laser.
You always need a laser.
I mean, I'd be cool if they had... And we could use it as like a resupply point where we could put extra like jump fuel or whatever on the base. So like members of Armco can go and land and refuel and rearm. We can drop off resources for mining if people want to, like, if the group, like if it's a hub that players in a group can actually work together in. So miners go out and mine, the big haulers can pick up that cargo and move it. I mean, they have an awesome cargo system. Why not incorporate it into the base building and make it a boon for like the Armco base that we can all use together? That would be really neat. I like the idea of combining content to it, though, what Tex is talking about.
I'd like options to upgrade it as well, like, I don't know, extra bays for spacecraft, or extra, I don't know, just another place where we can all regroup, do missions together, perhaps even like a mission station.
Well, and we've had a lot of ships that have added extra functionality into the universe. You know, there's the salvage craft, there's the repair craft, there's the hospital craft, and I'm not throwing the names out there because that'll come to the tip of the tongue here, but I wonder if the base will have modules that do those various things as well, so that if you're if you're a Starship pilot, you know, a starfighter pilot, not a huge pilot, will you be able to go to a base and get repairs from a player base, and maybe even like the player base brings in money by repairing people that come by.
Oh, I love that idea. Like, tie it into the economy in some way. So, all right, you claim that one space and you put the resource and time and effort into building a base and make it a substantial investment. And then players can use it as a hopping point and make you money in a certain way, right? I like that a lot.
They have a business, yeah, I can see that. But perhaps even like setting up, I don't know, like a future releases, maybe like a weapons factory or like a weapons store. Like, I don't know if when crafting actually becomes a thing in the game in the next, I don't know, however many years it's going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe like Armco can make its own weapons and sell them off to
Armco
the highest bidder.
I like
just
that.
Just as an example.
So like a station, a point where other people could come in and actually buy the stuff that the group has manufactured. So kind of like how Ultima Online used to do this system where you could hire an NPC to sit in your house. And players could walk by and they could buy stuff from you. And then what it ended up turning into was this whole, like, you'd have markets set up by players, each selling their own custom wear. And so people would start like knowing, oh, I went over to the Obsidian Market, which was a player-built town, with all of this stuff that was made by players. So it really added to the sandbox feel of it. Made it feel more alive too, because you knew everything in that market was harvested by players, refined by players, and then crafted by master blacksmiths and stuff. So that kind of like transition that into a sci-fi element with factories and weapon technology and research departments and all that kind of stuff could be pretty.
You could also drift down the topic of like drugs manufacturing as well, making it a legal trade, and then having it player bounty hunters find out like, oh, this corporation secretly has a drug supply on this moon. You have to go and take them down and get evidence and
Yeah, it's like, how do you tie it into the rest of the game mechanics? So yeah, bounty hunters going after people who have gone against the law, or your whole base has gone against the law, so you're manufacturing some space spice out there in the middle of nowhere. There is a ship that has like farms, and they've said chemistry labs for you know, nefarious purposes.
Oh yeah, your space drug lab. Yeah.
There's an old beat up van.
I hope it's
floating around
flammable
space.
every once in a while. Like if you really fail at making something, it pieces up, it can just explode. That'd be so cool.
You think it's shaped like an RV?
Definitely. I think an RV with a roof rack.
I love it. Yes.
It's beat up.
This needs to be a thing. You heard it, Star Citizen. We're here for you guys. We've got all the ideas.
How would we charge for ideas?
Is that what we do?
I'm digging the cosplayers out there. They're really into this. That pair they remind me more of Daft Punk than.
Oh yeah. Harder, better, stronger, faster. Now that's gonna be stuck in my head because this is what you do, Tex.
Oh, okay, fine. I wasn't even singing anything this time.
Are you saying Tex is a bad influence?
Constantly, all the time.
Wow.
Without a doubt. Deep Space Diner. That's what Bard wants.
A deep space day, yeah?
He wants a deep
Diner
space
and gas, yeah.
Diner.
But I wouldn't trust you to make food, mate. I'm sorry.
The Dark Bar.
Hey, that's a thing.
Bar and grill. I like it.
The
On the edge of the
Endeavor.
universe.
Thank you, player. It's the Endeavor is
Endeavor,
not
yes.
shaped like an RV, but it should be.
Maybe even further down the line, just jumped in my head of talking about, oh no, what ship manufacturing is going to be like. Like, I'm talking, this is late game, this is jumping way far ahead, but just a thought that's just jumped into my head for ship manufacturing. Is that going to be a thing?
Like making their own ships? I don't know how that would work. Like, because they've taken a lot of time and effort in making these well-known like manufacturers inside the universe that all have their own background stories and stuff. I mean, maybe players can work up a faction rating or something with them. That would be kind of cool to unlock a contract with these corporations that says, hey, you can make our models, versions of our models to our standards, as long as you give us like a certain cut. I guess they could pull something like that off, but I don't know how that would work.
They haven't really talked about anything like that. I mean, they've talked about like the modding system and where you would take your Starship to like a modder and have them make modifications to it and make it more efficient and upgrade components and that kind of stuff. But they haven't really talked about like fabricating entirely new frames and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean, they've shown the repair. There's actually repair ships that they've got. And, yeah, well, you don't lose ships permanently if you've got insurance, so I don't know how that works either, because EVE Online does have ship manufacturing, to have some type of example that we can compare this to. But there's also permanent loss of ships when they're destroyed, so, you know, there's an economy for it built in there. But if you've got most of the population of the server having ships that never actually go away permanently, I wonder, would it be worth it? Would it be, how do they balance that?
Well, they don't go away. I mean, they do go away permanently. I mean, if your ship is destroyed, it's destroyed. Now you have insurance and you can replace that, but I mean, what if you're replacing it at a player vendor?
Oh, so they like turn in their insurance ticket or something to this vendor, and they get it back cheaper or something?
Yeah, I don't
what's
know.
the benefit to the player, you know?
I'm not sure what
I
I'm
mean,
expecting.
the insurance company pays the player.
How many
I'm not
players
sure what
would
I'm
you like to
expecting
see
from
on
this.
a server? Stickman asks. How many? That's the biggest question, right? It's like, how many players can they have? I want as many as they can comfortably hold on the server, without it going straight to the 5
30
frames a
might be
second.
a bit of a big ask.
Well, I mean, there's been a number of games who've successfully pulled out, you know, like an instancing system where everyone is in the same world. It's just locally they're in the servers, and I believe that's how Star Citizen is trying to go about it, aren't they? Where like if you're in X system, then anybody up to a certain population is in that same system with you.
Yeah, it's something along those lines where there's going to be some kind of instancing system where if you jump to like another star or you jump to another planet, then you're going to be in that area with, you know, only so many players. The question is how many players, because some of the capital ships have, you know, crew of 30. Like that's more than you can hold on the server right now on the alpha.
I I think if they push to 30, that would be a good number, but I don't think we're going to get that. I think they'll push to, I don't know, 15, 16, maybe 20.
I think, what are they up to right now on that? Do you remember? I think they're at 20 now. I thought they were like 24 on the server or something
20?
Like that. I don't remember. We'll have to see when 3.0 comes out. I don't think they're expanding the server capacity. If they are, it's not by much.
Now, are you talking about population and persistence, or in like the Star Citizen module? I mean, the
I'm
Star
talking about
Marine
persistence.
module.
Like end goal, they get it out, the game is released. I wonder how many, because like I said, the capital ships have these huge population caps where you need a certain amount of people to actually crew this thing, NPCs and players. And then you're supposed to have capital ship battles. On top of that, starfighters flying around. They want to go to server meshing rather than instancing. Think dual universe. Server meshing
makes more sense.
So in a way, you don't even realize you're transferring servers, kind of thing. Every time you jump, there's that animation that plays, and you're in the background switching from one server to the next.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what I meant when I said, instancing, is that, okay, well, every local area is its own instance on its own server, and then you just transfer between servers when you do jumps or things load in or load out.
You never feel like you're being torn out of one server to the next.
Well, ideally, hopefully they can do it without like loading screens.
Walking around. That was the one thing they talked about. I know they've tried to push that idea that you won't see any loading screens and you'll be able to walk around your ship while you're flying and whatnot. Which,
yep.
That
looks like we're 2 minutes out.
2 minutes out? We'll see.
2 minutes
We'll see. The stream was officially supposed to start an hour ago, so we'll.
On the player building system, are you thinking that maybe something like Star Wars Galaxies had, where you had like offline vendors?
Yeah, Galaxies had the same very similar system. The Galaxies devs even said they were very inspired by Ultima Online style, where you had player vendors that were up for sale. Because right now we have a space station in the alpha, and there's vendors that sit there behind the counters. 3.0 is going to have vendors we can actually trade with. So I don't think it's beyond reason that we'd see vendors that players could run on their own space stations. Maybe even with the hiring of NPCs, which is something that is slated to come out for capital ships. I wouldn't be surprised if we had the hiring of security personnel. Like you were saying, have pirates attack these bases if they're out there. Have to hire security to hold those bases if you put them out in low security areas of space. I think that'd be really cool.
You have a store, you come online and you get a message your store has been robbed.
But you kind of have to have some kind of mechanism for that if you have a 24/7 persistent universe, where even when you're loaded out, life still goes on. If your ships don't disappear when you log out, then how do you protect them?
Nope.
And each game sort of has to figure out a way of having their own economy that's a credit sink, and that's definitely one way you can do a credit sink is. If you want to protect your stuff when you're not there, then you're hiring NPCs to take care of it. I think they're about to start here.
I think they are too. Well,
yep.
I'll turn it up. Let's see what we got. Kill the music. It's so quiet. I can't tell.
The sound's gone.
Here we go.
There's Sandy.
Yep.
Guten Tag, alle.
How big the turnout is.
Welcome to CitizenCon 2947 in Frankfurt, Germany. Would you believe that we were actually ready to go on time this year behind the scenes? However, because of our new expanded format, which we're very excited about, it took a lot longer to get all of the fans in. We had special tagging and badging and also special gift bags that you all received. So to all of you watching online, I know it's early in the States, but for those of you who are up, we are late because we had to get all of our fans in nicely. So hopefully next year we will get them in on time.
Yeah, it was a weird starting time.
I also only just landed 2 hours ago. I was working up until the last minute in Los Angeles and made a last-minute decision to come because I couldn't not see all of the fans here. And I got in the cab and I said to the taxi driver asked me where I was going, and I just had to start speaking German. And I said, I'm going to Käsestraße. And he looked at me really strangely. I thought to myself, why is he looking at me really strangely? And then I was like, oh my gosh, Käse, for those of you who don't speak German, actually means cheese. So I was like, I'm going to Cheese Street. So it took me a while, but I did get here. We are very excited by this new format, and we hope you all enjoy it today. The panels are actually now going to be in UK time, because they're all pushed back an hour. So without further ado, we hope you enjoy the show.
Guy's got a Navy hat on in the front.
I think he's cosplaying or something.
Like a UE Navy hat or something.
Where's this Navy hat in here? You could have a Navy hat with the Armco symbol on it.
Oh, I would rock that.
Dreams.
Big dreams. I want a fancy hat. Star Citizen, the life of a cargo container. Now you too can play as a cargo container.
Why is I imagine the Jurassic Park theme tune playing?
What?
This is part of Chris Roberts' new spin-off game for Star Citizen called I Am Cargo. Your life in a unique universe as a cargo box.
This cargo box is legit though. It just survived entry.
Kidding.
And it's fine. Everything's fine.
So was it a constellation that took out a caterpillar in what, a space of what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, wrecked it. And then like cluster missiled the side of it.
Nicely done.
Ladies
Nicely
and gentlemen,
done.
That was good.
Chris Roberts got to come out of the box.
Chris Roberts.
Is he gonna come out of the box?
He's going to come out of the box.
He's going to do like all magician stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris
David Blaine.
Let's try it again. Chris Roberts.
Box is stuck.
Oh, they didn't put any air holes in the box. Somebody get over there. Oh.
Hello,
never mind.
Frankfurt.
What's in the box, Chris? What's in the box?
So we're really
3.0 release date.
excited to have you
Yeah,
all
it's gonna be
here
a button
in
for
Frankfurt,
3.0.
Germany, at
Boom,
CitizenCon
it's out.
2947, and it's pretty cool. I'm very excited by the extended format we're doing today. As Sandy said earlier, that we've actually been wanting to do this for quite a while, where we can have more sort of FaceTime between you guys and the devs and show you a bit more sort of behind the scenes stuff. So during the course of the day, take the time, go around. There's a whole bunch of sort of smaller ad hoc demos we have out in the atrium, as well as the big presentations we're going in here. There's a lot of the really talented devs that are building the game of our dreams, my dreams, your guys' dreams here. So hopefully you'll like the new extended format. And one of the reasons why we can do that is because Intel are being gracious enough to sponsor CitizenCon this year, and so we can sort of do things at a little larger scale. You know, as you guys know, I've been sort of accused of being in bed with Intel from a long time ago, when everyone had to upgrade their PC to play the next Wing Commander. So this time we're really being in bed with them, but for good reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Let's see what the box delivered.
PG.
Rumor
So
confirmed.
here we are. So the Optane 900p, which is the fastest SSD on the planet, and we've actually been working with Intel for quite a bit of time on this one. And it's some really cool
brought
tech.
to you by Intel.
Here,
He's just
I'll
throwing
throw
it
one
out.
to
Wow.
the audience here.
Don't actually
Who's gonna
chuck
catch?
it. Please don't
He's
actually
just
chuck
chucked
Here
it.
we go.
He just chucked him.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
I think all of us just twitched
Throw
a
us
little
all away
bit.
from the dry ice.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wait, is he going to open this? Everyone reach under your chair and find an
has some,
SSD.
like, really cool
Yes. And
new
you can
technology.
You get an SSD, and you get an
I wanted
SSD.
to bring where we are now.
Oh man.
Here we are. David, Lundell from Intel come out.
This is
So
my new
David's
lover.
going to talk a little bit about the Optane, and before we kick off everything.
Oh man.
Yes, thank you.
Now
Thank
we
you
know
very
why
much for
Sandy had to
having
come
us here
over
today.
at last
Really
minute.
appreciate this opportunity. Today at CitizenCon, we're actually launching the product that Chris just tossed out into the audience.
Yes, so it's a big deal for Star Citizen, the fact that we're
Our brand new
actually
product, he just
part
tossed
of
into the
a
audience.
Launch of a
Yeah.
major
Literally
piece of hardware.
tossed
That's
it.
very, very cool.
It's a major launch for Intel of the Intel Optane 900p SSD. And really, it's the first SSD for desktop and workstation users that uses Intel Optane technology. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's a non-volatile technology like an
get ready for
SSD.
20 minutes
However,
of
it's got
Intel
ultra-low
advertisements.
latency.
Yeah,
This
about
means
to say, we
incredible
have confirmed that Intel has
responsiveness
indeed
and
put the
amazing
bill
performance.
because they get the commercial at the very beginning
what
of
we
the
believe
presentation.
Is with the PC platform
Yep, everyone sit
and the
back, strap
processor
yourselves in.
needing more and more high-speed data. This is a
Intel
great
for the
technology
next half
to
an hour.
add to the platform. The other key attribute of this
looking at the
technology is endurance.
Speaking of interesting
It has 20
funding
times the endurance
routes,
of a typical
though, is that
SSD,
maybe a
which
time to
means
talk a
heavy
little bit
data
about
users
that
can
while
be assured
they're
gonna
flogging
get
their wares?
long life out of this
Yeah, let me
product.
turn this down a little bit.
So we see
If you guys
places
are
in
looking
this
to watch this
CPUs,
without the
workstation
chatting over it,
simulation,
the link is in the description below to go straight to their Twitch channel,
game
and you can
development.
just watch it straight up.
Compile a lot faster now, actually. So
So
we've turned our builds
So
around.
Chris's
and,
choice to go with Intel. Well,
you know, all our, with their, Intel was kind enough to give
he must
us
be
a
getting
whole
something
bunch
good out of it.
for-
hey, they get
Well,
paid.
and it's definitely helped.
Didn't they
Yeah,
have
it's
another...
getting
temporarily, they had a little partnership with Cytec, too. Didn't that go away, though?
Yeah, that kind of just quietly disappeared. They were making a what was like a three-port.
And also for
I
those
still
of you
said it wrong.
that are part
Three-part
of the Star System,
keyboard and
this is what
joystick
it's really
setup.
all about.
the hot test system. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that. I
whole
remember
hot
seeing
test
the images for it. That's
And then
just died a
was
death.
gone. Which I was cool with. I have a Saytec. I'm actually really happy with it. I would like to have had a Star Citizen one, but so much.
So Shaq, you're the person that knows this. Can we resolve this for once and for all? Is it HOTAS or HOTAS?
It is whatever your heart says it is.
Ah, no.
Oh, that's not the answer.
I'm asking the F-16 mechanic. What is the actual term?
I worked on the engine, so not all of the buttons and bits and bobs. That was the electrician's job.
Are you saying not my job?
Whatever pisses off the electrician side of things more is obviously the right choice, and that's the one you should go with.
So are you directing us to another department?
I basically, yes. Let me
Yeah,
transfer
wow.
your call to line 2.
Any F-16 and any F-16's electricians out there? Let us know.
I'm gonna get some angry comments now. I know it. I'm just waiting for the angry tweets.
I think you'll find.
Shaq.
The entire stream, there's going to be a commentary on HOTAS versus HOTAS. Yeah.
Next question is, what else is he going to get out of the box?
His next sponsor.
His next sponsor.
It's just a box of sponsors.
Coming up next.
I was hoping it was going to be a button, like he was going to open it up and like a button was going to raise out and he's going to be like, 3.0 is out now, and he pushes it
I was still
automatically.
hoping he was going to come out of the box.
I really was hoping he was going to pop out of the box like a birthday cake stripper.
Like a slightly overweight David Blaine.
So wait, are you saying there's
Sure.
a queue of sponsors behind the curtains? Just a queue? A short queue? About 6 or 7? Waiting to come out and say their bit.
Let me turn it back. Let's see if they're still talking about Intel.
Hey, you know, there's a technical collaboration. It'll make the gameplay better, make you guys have more fun with this thing, try new experiences. But also, we thought we might translate that into a ship.
We did.
They're actually
we're
making a
calling it
ship out of
the
an
Raven.
Intel brand.
It was designed by Nathan Dursley, who's our ship art director, and it's something that he's actually was. It was a form and a shape he was really keen to do. So, having said that, let's just run a little video.
spaceship wind tunnel for the win. That's awesome.
One thing Star Citizen has to do is make a ship trailer.
And a good looking ship.
Yeah. So you're telling me stealth Starship with the EMP?
Oh yes, I think that's what we're getting at here. It's really nice and sleek.
Oh yeah. Alright. It's like...
Gotta be tough on the wind tunnels, though, if you keep EMPing like that as part of the test.
That's what they're designed for, and it's fine. That thing is slick. Is that the only way you can get it?
Wait a minute, did we just miss something there? Do you get the ship if you buy an SSD?
Wait. This SSD comes with spaceship.
I think that's literally what it said.
Kind of Nathan's video he put together, which was
Let's hear what he said.
No, you're right.
This will be it. This will be what they...
There it is right there.
Purchase
There
and
is your
Intel
Intel and claim a
SSD.
blazing flash use of
Wow.
in-game Saber Raven
It's
ship.
currently our fastest dedicated dogfighter. Can be used as a resilient data runner that can sort of defend itself. Has twin EMPs, which I think you saw sparkling at the beginning there, and has a couple of heavy-duty laser cannons, and it definitely punches well above its weight class.
And it's going to be available for all players, right? This is just like a bonus
and it will
thing.
be
You're not going to be...
sold with the Intel Optane
Son of a bitch.
600p.
I don't...
You're giving a ship that is literally a pirate's wet dream of 2 EMPs
anyway,
to only
those
people
here
who buy a
in the,
product
audience,
from your
you'll be able to
sponsor.
actually test fly the Raven.
Well,
Guess what? The way
Set up
they haven't
goes up on the
said,
store.
they haven't said
Side
that
of the
yet.
venue.
He just said
And we've got
exclusively
24 PCs
with
the amazing
the
performance of an
SSD.
Intel Core i9 processor.
He just
So
said
you're
it.
gonna be able to try the latest,
Oh boy.
highest performance processor, plus Intel Optane
Please,
technology,
Robert, no.
plus the Saber Raven.
Please,
And
Robert,
this will all
no.
be able
Don't do
be
this to
fly
us.
flown in the Star Citizen 3.0 Alpha Planetary Playground.
Does the
So
Avenger
go
even
enjoy
get
it.
two
So it'll be upstairs in
EMPs?
Universa.
No, one.
And then one extra thing is, which is good for you guys. Intel have been kind enough to give us 150 of these drives. And if you look in your bag and you have a golden ticket,
Golden ticket.
you get one of these drives. And you'll go to Universa and just
Surprised there wasn't a bit of a crowd reaction to that.
So,
Blazing Classics exclusive in-game Saber Raven ship while
That's a pretty
supplies
good
last.
deal to come to CitizenCon.
It could be a
I
data
think those
runner
drives are what,
or
$400?
2
Yeah,
EMPs.
yeah.
So
Like if he didn't
thank
say
you
that, I'd
very
be like,
much to
okay,
Intel
it's
for
just one of the
allowing us
fast
to
fighters.
do that.
Whatever.
Thank you,
Just
David.
Thank you, Chris.
Great.
Really appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Bye-bye.
On the next sponsor.
next sponsor. Come
So we've got a big day today.
To hold up his
I'm gonna
hand
invite
and like, you know, a little phone gesture and
Chambers
say,
on the
AMD,
stage.
call me.
Brian's our
We've
general
already
manager
got
of
your
the German
crazy
office here in
OP fighter
Frankfurt.
ship.
And
Just let
you'll
us
know him
know.
by his golden flowing locks. And he's going to give you a rundown of the events that we're doing today. And I will see you guys around the event here today during the day, and then for the final
It's all wasted in the
presentation
chat.
tonight. At
He was. He spoke
9
about.
o'clock
He was
UK time,
insulting
10
your
o'clock
comment
German time.
about the wind tunnel
all
in
right, so Brian
space.
Chambers, everybody.
Hey, it's a wind tunnel in space. I didn't design
Thanks,
it. It was a
Chris.
thing. Space tunnel.
Guten Tag.
The space tunnel.
Wait, is he done? Was that Chris Roberts just like, all right, peace, I'm out?
Awesome to
Peace
be
out.
here.
High
CitizenCon in
drive.
Germany. How cool is that?
Buy
Yeah,
a
that's it.
hard
That's the
drive and
only
it's just
thing.
gone.
I'm incredibly happy to be here.
Buy my hard
we're gonna
drive.
Kick off the
Mic
format.
drop.
Brand new format of CitizenCon.
Well,
here
since
in
I'm not
Germany.
worth,
I think that's pretty
since I'm not
cool.
sure if
As
Waster is
Chris
going to
said,
join
we
us,
hope
he
to
did
keep
make the
this
point
format
that
going
buy an
forward.
SSD only
We've
compatible
flown
with
in
the latest
developers
series
all
of
around the world,
motherboards.
every single one of our offices.
Oh, is that right? So the new SSD can't be used with anything but their newest. Okay.
Staff badge on.
And the only way that you'll
Go
get
up,
the
ask
dual
you
EMP
questions.
interceptor fighter data runner.
As you can see, or as you can tell, we started a little bit
I'm gonna have a
late
lot
due
of
to
trouble
how
letting that
long
go
it took to get
for the rest of the
everybody
stream.
in here. So we're going to push everything back by approximately about 1
Well, let's
hour.
find out if it's exclusive. On the
For
store
today's
later on, I'll have a
events,
look, see if it's
I'll
on
give a
there.
brief overview. You can refer to your conference guide as far as all the detail that's in there. However, the times will be a little bit different, and sorry about
Empire
that.
on the move.
But I'll give a quick overview of kind of what's going on in each area. On this main stage, we'll have a series of panels sharing insight into multiple disciplines. We'll have animation, graphics, tech, lore, art, and design. And then closing off the end of the day, as Chris said, a special presentation by Chris himself. which is pretty cool. You guys won't want to miss. In the atrium just outside, when you guys first came in, we got a whole series of close-up
this year's Star
demos
Citizen
with
is very much like hands-on
learn how
at
to
the
build
event.
solar
They're
systems
supposed to
and
be having,
planets,
I don't know,
how
a
we
couple hundred
customize
PCs or
weapons,
something set up for
balance
people to
ships,
jump in
how we
and play.
craft AI
I don't remember what the number was, but it was something ridiculous.
as well as
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot going on in the atrium. A lot of art and a lot of like the face-over IP guys are there by looks as well.
Yeah, yeah, because that's out of house.
I wasn't going to be all salty just to start off so early, but I wonder if we shouldn't rip the Band-Aid off and talk about Star Citizen's incredible financing model and potentially incredible game that may come out at some point.
That's a lot to unpack. But yeah, I mean, coming right off of this exclusive ship, I don't even know where to start with that.
That's a real salt in the wound. That's
yeah, that's a bit much. Hey,
watching the stream at home or wherever you're at.
Commander Jack, thanks for the donation. Says, I believe according to their website that it's exclusive in that way that you can't buy it for real money, but you can eventually get it in game like all the other ships. If that's the case, I'm fine. I'm totally cool with it, especially if you can get it in game and like rip those EMPs off and put it onto something else, or those are just like items that they're gonna have in the world. That's cool. It's just the way that it was presented, it seemed like the only way you will get this ship is if you buy this SSD from Intel and the thing and the 2 EMP thing. It's just that blew my mind. Okay.
I'm gonna look up the link that Jack's talking about, see if I can find out what information about it.
Playing videos again. Some of the old trailers from like during the Kickstarter going on here. The old model.
I guess what I'm trying to bring up and trying to at least address rather than ignore is the criticisms that Star Citizen has had for the fact that they just keep coming up with new ways to get money, but every time they do, the scale of the game increases and the release date goes further and further off. I mean, remember we started off with a Kickstarter campaign that was going to be this fairly limited Squadron 42 game, and it knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, Chris Roberts' desires to make the game, which ironically, the last person I know who did that was Derek Smart, who was really negative about Star Citizen.
Don't bring up him. He is so not worth talking about.
But it's there is a certain irony that the person who's complaining of somebody of being a megalomaniac game designer is one who's a megalomaniac game designer.
Well, all right. So in not talking about him specifically, because he has yet to make a game that I would consider a game. Smart. For Star Citizen, there was a journey there to like people like to go back and say, oh, well, the Kickstarter was promising this, and now we're here and they're making this gigantic game. There was a process where they made way more money than they ever had hoped for with the Kickstarter, and then there was actually a vote that took place for people who Kickstarted it, and they asked straight up, do we push this game out in the way that we've talked about it? It's like we get it just the game done and out, or do we go crazy and continue? And this was, I think they were in like the 20 million, 30 million mark. I don't remember. There's forum posts that go on for days about this on Reddit. But the vote went hugely in favor of go nuts, focus on immersion, and go frickin' batshit crazy. And that's kind of what they've done. I totally get people saying that, oh, you know, the way that they've sold ships and the way that they've continued to market the game and to generate funds for the game. I will fault the company for trying to make money. But definitely like the frustration of I want to play something, especially on the eve of 3.0 coming out and still kind of waiting for that so many more months afterwards. But I mean, it is what it is. Do you want to see a game push
enhanced with Optane technology.
boundaries
And,
with these huge teams, these art teams, or do we want just the game to come out so we can play it? And there's, I mean, everybody falls in that range somewhere, I'm sure. If you're interested in Star Citizen, I'm curious, Tex, where do you sit on that topic?
Well, I kickstarted, so I've been in this from the very beginning, and like you said, when the vote came along, I was for them making a bigger game that fit the vision and having sort of a persistent sort of MMO aspect. And I'm okay with, in general, the fact that the game has expanded so much. What I'm concerned about is the fact that because their funding model is that of the players and of people buying ships, there is zero real pressure that normally a game design company would get from a publisher to actually finish a product and get it out the door. And that has both its benefits and has its negatives. Now, I've bought 2 ships. I'm in, for a fair amount of chunk of change on this thing, and I'm not going to buy any more until I see a playable 3.0 game. And at that point, I may very well buy another ship if it comes out, but I'm kind of ready to play with what I've already bought.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, if it's anything like the stuff that I bought into quite a few ships. So I've paid well more than your standard $60 boxed game, and it's more buying into the concept. But
yeah, I bought a Hornet because I wanted the ship that I was going to fly in Squadron 42, and I bought a Freelancer because I absolutely love the game Freelancer. And I love everything that little tramp freighter stands for.
Yeah, it does kind of conjure up images, doesn't it?
And I don't want them to push out the game before it's done. I would hope that they have expanded the scale of it as much as they're going to at this point. And that from now forward, rather than coming up with brand new ideas and brand new things that are going to delay the game by another year or so, they just focus on getting what they've got done, and out in the hands of the backers.
Was that it for the intro? Was that literally like...
I think that's it, yeah.
The introductory, the keynote?
Yeah, I think the main panel doesn't start for another 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
Is what somebody was saying.
All right, so that was the introduction, and then they'll get into the proper, keynote deal. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'd like to...
Go ahead.
And this Intel exclusive ship concerns me if that's a direction that they're going to start going now.
You can get exclusive stuff in our game if you sponsor us. Yeah, that's a little for companies to be diving in like that and offering things for a freaking SSD. Like, really? All I need is a thing that says you can still get it. Every item that is available in the game will be available to all players outside of the rewards that players got that they earned during the alpha fighting the Vandal. I understand that was like if you were, top tier fighting the waves, then you could unlock something. I thought that was cool, and it was a rare ship, so it should be rarely seen in the universe. But if you're going to start supplying people with stuff that could be used as prime pirating ships, that's like a balance issue. That is going to firmly go into the crowd of people that are going to be screaming pay to win. But I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about pay to win for Star Citizen? They're applying that title to it. They are selling ships. Ships equal power, right? Firepower. How does that fit in a game like this, where it's a sandbox where you do what you want, not necessarily focus on PvP?
Tex's point earlier about him saying he's bought the ships and won't be buying any more. I'm pretty much in the same boat. I've bought myself a Constellation, so because I wanted the Constellation just to have a small group of friends or something like that. You can get out there and do some jobs, and it's got enough cargo to do some jobs. And then I've got myself a fighter, so I'm already sorted in that fact as well. And something we go on land, and I'm pretty much nothing too expensive, but nothing exactly I haven't put hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I want to get out there. I want to get out there and, we can get out there as a group and earn some money. And then as a group, one of us can now afford this larger ship. And now we've got this larger ship to go and get out there and get in the universe. I would love to see that for Star Wars. For Star Citizen, sorry. And, yeah, Star Wars, what?
What?
My main concern is obviously you do have the people that do have the ability to go and buy every ship they have possible. And there are people out there like that have bought every ship possible, like the big capital ships, and it's a concern. Like, we could be going along in my little constellation, happy as ever, doing small running cargo jobs, and suddenly this big capital ship comes out of nowhere that's run by a guy and a small AI crew and a load of his friends, and I'm blown out of the sky. That's a big concern for me in the back of my head. Like, I'm really looking forward to the game, and I will be spending a lot of time in it, but that is one thing that's going to keep going at me, is what's going to happen if I come against a person who has more real cash than I do.
Right, and bought that epic ship and jumps in and kicks the crap out of you. And then in the back of my head, there's that EVE Online like mentality to it. I've played that game for years. It's super competitive, always worried about PvP. But like in the back of my head, I'm thinking, if somebody can just buy into a battleship, that's ridiculous to me. But then, in the early days of the Star Citizen like design philosophy, they even had sliders for like. They talked about having a slider for how much PvP you were actually interested in, and that the game wasn't going to be focused so much on like competitive play, so much as getting the experience that you want out of it. And they haven't talked about that in a long time, but like that mentality of I could turn the slider all the way down and potentially focus on PvE content as long as I stay out of certain areas of space, maybe. Like, if that's the case, then pay to win's hard to judge if I'm not actually competing against other player-like organizations for territory. Because that's
I would love to see a PvE mode, a full-on PvE mode, or where you can choose to either toggle a flag for PvP or not. Because I think that's a gameplay style that people are definitely into. I need to point out, Player 907 had a really good point. They have actually done this with a subsidized ship before. And that was the AMD Mustang Omega giveaway, where when you bought an AMD card, you got a Mustang Omega, and it was a specific Mustang that had a AMD exclusive paint job.
A paint job, though, like a paint job, I get behind.
That's fine. That's easy.
Your ship looks cool. All right, I can't get that paint job. I'm not gonna go cry into my soup. But if you pull up next to me, next to my freighter, in a ship that has 2 EMP devices built into it because you bought a hard drive and EMP the crap out of me and steal all my cargo, I might be a little perturbed by that. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just because like you were given this object that made you legitimately more useful in combat. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but
Now, I mean, I guess the question is exclusives, because I think the distinction with pay to win is if you can get something that you cannot earn in game,
realistically earn
the in-game engine.
Because there's always that, you could earn it, and then there's some ridiculous grind that'll take you like 6 years to get something, but like legitimately earn something in a reasonable amount of time. Because they always have to separate those two. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was really kind of my point. Now, Wasted has an interesting point. Is like, what if you? I mean, what is the payoff of starting with a javelin and able to fight larger ships and earn more money by doing so versus the guy who starts with a starter Aurora,
right,
and then builds up slowly to the point where they can afford the javelin. But the point that he's not making there is who really has more fun with the game. The person who starts with a starter ship and builds their way up, or the person who starts with a competitive PvP ship right at the beginning? And maybe the answer is that neither one has a better experience. It's just one or another.
But then I guess, do we have to look at the option of this person who's bought the larger ship might just want to be like that, just go around killing smaller players, and that's his terms of quote unquote fun.
And that opens up the question of, is that mechanically, are you able to do that, right? If they continued with the idea of having this like PvP slider where you could turn it down almost all the way, and only in the most dangerous areas of space would you be forced into confrontation with another player, versus people who love it and want to be in fights all the time. I'm looking. This looks like this is it. Like they're gonna do some gameplay stuff.
So looking at the schedule here, we just had the opening address, and then the next panel was 30 minutes after that, which was enhancing the mocap data with procedural systems. An hour after that is graphics and tech development for the Star Engine. The next panel is Xeon history, physiology, and language. After that would be the next panel would be the art and tech of Stanton. Then the next to last panel is the Consolidated Outland Pioneer, where I'm sure they're going to be talking about bases and claims and that kind of stuff.
What time does that one start?
And then the CitizenCon keynote address isn't until, well, these are the original times, and they said they pushed back an hour, so 2200, but I don't know what time that's in.
I believe it was said earlier in the stream
time?
chat, our stream chat, it would have been the end keynote address is 2100 my time, so that works out to... I'm good with time zones. 1 second. Let me look this up, just so I don't tell you wrong. That would be 4 your time, Cap.
4 my time.
So apparently that's the keynote address. So and then you've got before that you've got the Pioneer talk for settling bases.
Well, then it sounds like those are the ones that we're going to want to watch, because this is going to be mocap stuff.
Yeah.
Sounds like in 2 o'clock Central. No, 3 o'clock Central is going to be 4 o'clock your time is going to be the keynote, and then an hour before that.
Pioneer.
Sorry, 30 minutes before that's going to be the Pioneer.
Oh, here we go.
Gossip. Don't tell him anything you don't want the whole crew to know. Rumour has it that's why his ex left. But he's probably better off. Told me she had a gambling problem.
Alright, so this is just standard PCAP that we usually get. Facial and audio. And there's not running any lookout cases.
I've
right
got
now.
my first correction
so what I did
of the
is
stream.
I set up a
It's
camera
Xion,
to move around a bit,
not Xeon.
just to represent some player movement. And what I'm going to do is tell Moro here to look at the camera.
Oh,
as
he's
if it's
actually
the
looking at the player. Okay. So this is what they're demoing.
Oh, is this their face cap technology they're doing?
No, this is like the NPCs, the AI will know to look at you even if you're moving around them and their animations are playing. It makes it feel more natural. Because you've played games where if they don't lock you in position and the NPC has an animation to play through, they look off into space.
I just don't look at your ugly face.
Look at that. Let's keep it on you. They've done a lot of work on the facial expressions.
Constantly looking at the
there was a
camera,
video
which
of
is
one of the
really
speeches
good.
that they had.
Some of the fun shining through on the
Oh my
face
goodness, what's his
and on the
name? He
head a
played
little
Commissioner
bit, but
Gordon.
we are losing a lot of
The
the
Batman
same.
movies.
This is one of the issues we're sort out this year.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Wow.
He did a speech. Thank you. Wow, I'm glad you remember that. He did a speech video, and the lip syncing was a little weird. It looks like they've had a lot of work to go on.
So what we did is we
this is good.
broke up the look IK into
Yeah, you gotta remember there's a lot of top-notch actors going into this game. I always keep forgetting that. And then I remember seeing the list. I'm like, I keep getting wowed by the top actors.
Mark Hamill and Gary Oldman. Not Gary.
Mark Strong.
Yeah, Gary Oldman.
You've got the guy who played Gimli in Lord of the Rings. He's going. You've got Andy Serkis doing a lot of mocap, and he brought his own team on to do some of the mocap for his stuff.
Okay, I actually found a schedule that has even time zones and everything. So yeah, the Outland Pioneer is going to be at 1:30 p.m. EST, which will be 6:30 p.m. Manchester.
And this is updated? Because they're out, like you said, they're all pushed back an hour.
No, I'm sorry. Take it back. Yes, adjusting for an hour, the Pioneer starts at 2:30 New York time, 7:30 GMT +1.
Oh, times have changed.
Because that's the one I'm really interested in. That's the ship that has the building mechanics, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they don't go into any of like how those mechanics are going to work. More just, hey, this is a new ship. Check out the trailer. Let's go for a tour inside it. Because we haven't heard anything about that except for the possibility that it might be a thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the early building ideas as we've already got these module pieces on starbases and whatnot, where you're going to be able to use those. That wouldn't shock me.
But you can only get that ship if you buy a certain component.
If you buy the G-Force whatever, that's what you get the ship. It'll have dual construction components.
You can make your outpost right away.
EMP thing, just...
See, I would love to just get on working on the constellation, get working with a small team, and then be able to afford an outpost somewhere, and then create that outpost into like a form of business, and then like offshore, off-world trading, for example, something like that.
Be very cool. Be very cool to see. Or having that outpost in Vandal territory and have it one of those things where the organization just be like, Psh, we're just here to piss you guys off, and like holding that territory for as long as possible. That would be fun. Being able to create your own events in sandbox games is, I think, the biggest joy of a sandbox title. So it'll be interesting to see what they add. Oh no, I dropped my dice.
Maybe it's the Intel i7 octa-core Outland Pioneer with 8 cores of construction power.
The only way that you'll get this ship.
I wonder how much. I don't suppose they've spoken about a price for the Pioneer yet, have they?
I saw on the wiki. Don't quote me on this. I don't know if it's true, but it says $850 for a pledge cost.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yeah. I won't fault the company for trying to generate funds. And if you can get all the ships in the game just by playing it, awesome. No problem. But man, some of those prices. Woo! For a digital spaceship. Says the guy who owns the Nox, the Hornet, 2 different versions of the Hornet. You know, the list is a little ridiculous, but.
The original system, always on, and then the right is Look IK with a little bit of.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Look on, look off.
Look IK toolkit. I'll let this run a few times.
So $850 for the Pioneer, $750 for the War Bond edition.
What is the War Bond edition?
In the War Bond, where you can, there are 2 editions in the store generally for a ship. They're the ones that you pay for money, and the ones that you can use in credit to do, I think. But don't take that to the bank.
I'm taking it.
That's it. It's done.
I've bought 2.
What?
War Bond is no store credit. Okay, so $850 you can spend for in-store credit on. So like if you really regret the Javelin that you bought, you can melt it down and then you can buy the Pioneer for $850, or you can pay $750 for a cash discount.
All right. I would rather just wait and earn it with the Armco crew doing odd jobs here and there and buy one.
Yeah,
you know, that sounds far more interesting to me than. That's why the farthest I will go is I bought a Carrack because I want to make fun videos, and I think that would be a ship to do it, and where I have a small crew and we can go around the galaxy, you know, derping around. But for those big ships, yeah, I wanna earn that sucker.
Yeah, I would love to do doing the events where the Armco crew, we go out once a week and do a load of missions in one big go, earn the cash, put it into a little pot, and save up for that Pioneer.
Yeah. Or that
Or save up for
Javelin,
the bigger
or
ships.
all those capital ships. Yeah, where we're like, you remember how we earned this? Yeah, we freaking did bounty hunts on the Rim. We fought the Vandal on behalf of the UEE. Whatever, like, fun stories that would come out of that, and have the ship as a way to remember it.
And I think that goes back to the point that Wasted was making about the Javelin, buying it for PvP versus buying it for PvE. I think if you're earning a ship for like in-universe storytelling, sort of role-playing at its finest, then building up to a ship is great. Because like you said, the stories, remember the time when we went to, Hex Core Alpha Ceti and we beat up on some pirates and we found this really cool piece of tech and we brought it back and we sold it and we upgraded to this next ship and now we have this great base that we can make.
Which, yeah, totally get it.
That's the kind of game that I'm really into.
I'm same here. Now, I totally understand somebody who is seeing this and thinking, oh, this is my dream of finally getting to play a new version of Bridge Commander, basically. All I want to do is on the bridge of my capital ship, I want to hire a bunch of NPCs, get my couple of friends on, and we want to be in this capital ship all the time. Like, that's our dream. And if that's the case, then flying around in an Aurora for 24 hours or, 70 hours to build up enough cash to buy the next ship may be a slog to those kind of players, which, all right, if there's not going to be that Eve-style PvP, like overarching PvP, then it's really balance your own game at that point, isn't it? It's really about what do you want to get out of playing.
like you said, does depend on the person. Some people can sit through the slog of MMOs like Arcade and slog through all the stuff, do all the trading, get the gold, and make their money and make their worth. Some people enjoy just getting out there and joining the small group of friends, but getting the big ships and doing as they wish. If they want to patrol a sector and be friendly, and so be it. Or if they want to be one big pirate crew, then I guess that's something as other players we have to deal with, and we have to work around it. Whether that means avoiding them altogether or get banding together and getting rid of them ourselves.
And at this point, that kind of gameplay hasn't even really been addressed yet. Yeah. I mean, they've given us pointers, but right now they're still at the game system standpoint. The cargo system, the ship upgrade system, and other than the FPS modules, we haven't really had any real peeks into what the real life experience is going to be day to day. Is there going to be compelling content that makes the game mechanic of earning credits so you can upgrade your ship, so you can earn more credits, so you can buy a bigger ship, so you can earn more credits? That's the game mechanic. Where is the flavor that's going to come from where you enjoy doing that? Because every MMO has its own series of systems, and you either enjoy the wrapper that it puts it around it, or you don't. And the ability to purchase these advanced ships with the LTI is a way for people to sort of bypass that mechanic, and that's fine and dandy as long as that doesn't give them an advantage.
Yeah, I guess that's the overall point. How far do you go with a massive advantage? Like, look at that new ship they've just done with that hard drive, dual EMP. It's a huge advantage for a pirate.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to your possibly even your as big as a constellation. They'll be able to take that out, no problem with dual EMP, depending on what weapon system it has on board and with the customization on weapon system.
Or are they going to nerf that thing to the ground? So it's like, oh yeah, it's got 2 EMPs, but they only
charge time's double.
Charge time is doubled, and it's not a very strong EMP, so it only works on small fighter ships. It's like, okay,
that would be a lot better. That would be.
At least be something, but it's still content that only you can get if you buy a hard drive. That's just so distasteful to me. It really is. I'm still hoping somebody, if you guys see a link that says that ship is going to be available just in the universe, and that it's just like the paint job, everything else about it will be available in the universe once the game is out, then my issues are solved. I don't really care. If you bought it and you get it as a package versus somebody who says, I want that ship, I'm just going to go and earn it myself while playing. Cool, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if all those components are available to players in-game and they can build their own OP EMP craft, then my only concern at that point is game balance issues.
Some players are saying it's 2 size 4 EMPs. So, I mean, if it's small EMPs that are there for, like, anti-missile defense, then I don't really care at all. It's like, okay, you get free chaff or flares, and it just knocks out guidance when a missile gets nearby or whatever. Okay, it's just a weird thing to have on a ship and then offer it as you can only buy it from one place, and that's through a hard drive. But
I guess it's because they didn't really detail the ship either. They didn't say, oh, it comes with this weapons, or this is all this strong, the armor's this thick, and they just went, here's the ship, it looks pretty, doesn't it? But you need a hard drive to get it. Buy the hard drive, see you later.
It definitely looks pretty.
Well, and who knows if, that EMP effect that was there in the trailer was just there because it looked really cool. Not necessarily what they actually anticipated it being in game.
And how it's going to be used, yeah. It's sad, though, because that's going to be the talk. Like, when after today is over, unless the keynote is amazing, for most of this day, it's going to be talking about that goddamn ship. It's going to be talking about this stupid sponsorship. Like, look at us. We're still talking about it. That thing happened 20 minutes ago. We're still yapping about it. Because it's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. What are you guys doing? Like, it's one more of these conversations that we're going to be seeing in comment sections about just fueling that negativity in the Star Citizen community, which frustrates me. Goodwill goes a long way, and it's really easy to burn it. Oh, well. Hopefully the end, the keynote is amazing.
I'm not sure what I'm expecting keynote either. I don't know what to expect. I mean, we've had all the 3.0 details. We know what's coming. we've pretty much had a lot of details on the next update as well. So I'm not sure what to expect. Like, what's going to be the big reveal for him to go, look at this, guys, wow.
So are you guys expecting 3.0 to be released today? Let me take an informal poll here.
Are you going to expect, or I'd like it to? Am I expecting it?
I'm not asking if you want it to. I'm asking, do you think it's going to be released today?
Do you think Chris Roberts is going to walk out on stage and be like, oh, hey, guys, guess what? At the very end of the show, 3.0 is out.
No.
You don't think so? I don't even think so either.
No, I have doubts. They're not ready yet.
They're close.
As far as I know, Eva Cutty is still...
Given the leaks from the Ivocati about all the balancing issues and the bugs they're experiencing, I'd say it's not ready for prime time. And at this point, the last thing that Star Citizens needs to do is release a buggy mess 3.0.
Yeah, they know it needs to be good. I love these walking animations, though. I love that he's stepping up on the boxes and the different terrain, and it actually looks supernatural. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I've just got really impressed by that. Like how they're walking now across the, well, I'm gonna assume they're rocks as he's put it out, and then through the holes.
Yeah, that's really cool. Into the holes, yeah. There. Interesting. No, I don't think 3.0. It's getting closer and closer. They're still fixing bugs, and then they find more bugs, and they're fixing bugs. And you know what? Get it right. I'm not worried about balance either. They've even said they're not worried about balance in this release. It's going to be crazy unbalanced when it pops out. It's just going to be, hey, go mess around on planets and explore and mess around with cargo and stuff like that. So I just don't want to see crashes. I don't want to see those bugs that you jump in and you just look at Star Citizen and go, oh, come on, Star Citizen. What are you doing? What are you doing to us? Other than frustrating.
That is going to be the first week of 3.0 release.
Oh, yeah. The shooter aspect's looking good. And they've done the updates to the armor, the legacy armor now. So there's so many good systems in there. The modularity of the armor, the ability to like attach things to it. You can actually see the grenades you're carrying with you will be on your armored, your chest piece or on your belt or wherever you're putting it. It's...
But I'm thinking, are they trying to stuff too much into it when they need to be focusing on other areas? Like I say, just working on servers and connections and making sure the game can actually be playable when it comes out. Because has there ever been a stable release or update of Star Citizen?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Kinda?
Yeah, sorta. I mean, fighting in Arena Commander, not Arena Commander, help me out here. The first-person module, when it finally actually came out. Star Marine. We had some fun in that. It did have its bugs, though. Getting caught in walls and getting stuck in animations. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how 3.0, like what quality level they're up to. The whole idea of like they need to be focusing and they shouldn't be working on. They've got so many teams now and so many people working on it that I'm okay with the idea that they can do multiple things at once, fleshing out the armor system and making the assets while at the same time building out the server software in the background while also reworking the CryEngine or the Lumberyard now. To handle what they're planning. Like they can do all these things at once. And I understand that the bigger things that we keep talking about, like the connection, how many players can be in a server, is probably going to be farther down the road, which is what we always seem to say. Coming soon. Trademark.
Coming soon. Stand by for further details. So the Saber Raven looks like it's going to be available in the 3.0 patch.
Okay.
Stat-wise, it's actually pretty similar to the Saber and the Saber Comet from looking at the store page. The difference is that they lose the missiles out of that ordnance bay, and then gain 2 Tromag EMP generators.
Okay, so it's going to be a ship with no missiles. Does that have the base weapons on it?
Basically, you'll have 2 cannon and 2 EMP on that, whereas the base variant has 4 laser repeaters and 4 missiles. So if you're going to run the EMP variant, you are definitely taking a combat hit. That is not a ship that you're going to want to use solo.
Understandable. My question is, can we get that same EMP gear as a player who didn't buy a hard drive from Intel?
Well, that's the question. If the answer is yes, then I have no problem with this.
What's going on with this guy with this walking stick right now?
I think he's trying to say this is basically another test he's going to run because it's meant to be obviously someone with a walking stick can then touch upon objects on the ground.
So the only difference
That's a sight impaired walking stick, is it not?
I believe so. I think that's the point.
Oh, they're talking about pathfinding for NPCs, basically, and how they like see their environments.
And you can start with 50 rays. That's already enough. But if you want to have an absolutely clear picture of the environment, you need a lot more rays. And we have a function for that. It's called ray world intersection. We used it in the past for ground alignment. Ground alignment needs only 2 rays. It's a very simple system because it has no prediction. And when we tested this in a scene with 30 eye characters, the frame rate dropped immediately from 50 to 5, and everything stopped working, and we spent almost all the time for this ray intersection test. And the reason why things run so slow is the binary trees we have to organize the entire world are meanwhile so deep and so complex that we waste too much time just parsing these trees. So ray world intersection was just not fast enough. And if you need something that is 20 times faster or 30 times faster, you can't just look at the existing code and hope you can make it somehow multiple times faster.
It'd be interesting to visit one of these, one of CitizenCons one day.
Sometimes
see the shop floor stuff. So I imagine the shop floor stuff, so the truly mind-blowing stuff you'll be able to see.
They're just having a chance to get hands-on, but I think it's all hands-on 3.0 right now, which is so close to being released. I don't think I'd find it nearly as interesting for the amount of effort it would take to get out there. I think it'd be more interesting just to meet up with like Armco people.
We have discussed being up in a bar.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Armco bar meetup.
And then
sorry, sir, we run out of beer. What? You mean?
And it's a bit better. I show you with a video how this works. So under the character, you can see this gray quadratic field. That's the local area I'm talking about. And this is basically a physical microcosmos in the local space of the character. So this is all a debug mode here. And you can see that every render geometry has a simple approximation. Most of them are using simple geometric primitives like spheres, boxes.
Yeah, see, this is nice. I'm not saying it's not lovely. It's just brilliant to watch. I'd love to see this, but what else should they be working on?
And often only a few of these proxies
well, that still kind of sits on the idea that they can only work at one thing at a time, right? Like these are all things that they have to find solutions to. It's one of the reasons why I really love their update videos, is that they come up with these interesting solutions to ridiculous problems where most games, in a way, fake it.
Yeah, they've got a huge team at this point. They've got, what, 3 different studios?
4 different countries now, isn't it?
With the UK studio, the Frankfurt studio, the Los Angeles, 4, yes, Los Angeles and the Austin office. And Austin's working on Squadron 42 exclusively, I think, isn't it?
Is it Austin that's working on it? I think you're right. I don't know. I lost track of what each studio is doing.
Yeah. I think there's probably some crossover.
It's dynamic. It's super small when the character
stands up on the ledges and stuff. I mean, you look at this, and now think of something like just random Arma, which has the same idea of like you see from the vision of the character, and you can look around with your head and all that, and how it fakes walking over objects. How it fakes going over a fence. You have to hit a button, and it does this really wonky animation, and there is no jump. You know, like that kind of stuff. Now, I wonder how the servers will handle this system that they're using. I want to hear more about like pathfinding and NPC. How do they work? How do the NPC AI actually work? How does the server keep track of all of this stuff? Like what the character is doing? Why is it doing it?
Another thought that's just jumped into my head, what's that going to look like? Like, if I'm looking at you and text running around a map, what are your legs going to be doing from my point of view? Is the server going to be that good and strong to survive me watching you guys step over things, like, and it look great as well, looks as smooth as it did just then?
How much of that's on client side, how much of that's server side?
How much of that is just on the client side, where they just have to keep track of where the NPC is, where it's looking, and what it's, and weapon fire and all that stuff, whereas on your end, on the client end, it's handling all the animation to make it look smoothly and sell the fact that it's doing it. Let's see.
Yes, I'm worried it'll look super janky and your feet will just be moving either really quickly or just will avoid the objects altogether.
So, to wrap up the Raven thing, that you can't actually buy a Saber or any of the variants in the store right now. They're not available.
Well, they did say exclusive, right?
They were on sale for like 180, 190, somewhere in that dollars for the base variant. The Intel drive is listed as, according to this one article, going to be $389 for the 280 gigabyte version, and then $599 for the 480 gigabyte version. So they're definitely paying for it.
Oh yeah.
And the Polygon article that I'm referencing here mentions too that the Intel guys talking about how it's the fastest ship in the medium class fighter, significantly faster than any other medium fighters.
Oh, interesting. Faster with the EMP is great. Can't outrun it, and it'll be right on your ass to EMP you.
Let's see. The Raven is kitted out as a data runner. It will feature 2 unique EMP weapons for disabling larger prey, as well as stronger, longer range laser weapons that a standard saber would normally be able to bring to bear.
So are they trying to make it as a data runner, because then they can say, oh yeah, when you're running data, people will come after you and you can disable them. Yeah, but people are not going to use it like that. People will use it as an attack, not an defense.
First thing I thought was pirate the shit out of people, because you can EMP the ship, you know? Disable it. That's the whole point of the EMP. It's why they came up with the Avenger, to stop shit.
They're sending it as a data runner to say, oh yeah, you can use your EMP to get your data to where you are and disable pirates that come after you. No, it's not.
And to be fair, that can be balanced in gameplay. How far a range does this EMP device have? Do you have to be able to get right up next to a craft to be able to disable it?
Which makes sense.
It would, but the question is, now that if somebody spends $300, $400, $600 on a ship, now you're going to tell them that they have to get within 25 meters of a Connie to be able to disable it and get blown out of the sky in the process.
Tacto asks, have they talked about ore mining yet? They haven't so far. They haven't talked about a lot of gameplay stuff yet. We're kind of waiting for the bigger keynotes and all that to go on. For mining, the only things that they've talked about in the past, there's a great article on what they want it to be like. It is very, if you've ever played EVE Online, oh, that looks beautiful, that desert. It's the opposite. That looks gorgeous. Like the footprints, too. And the smoke. Oh, that's great.
Dust puffing up, yeah. None of the panels have a label have a title that would make me think that they're anything to do with mining.
And I believe mining was coming in 3.1, so we probably got some time on that one. Unless it's changed.
It's all graphics and the Xi'an and art and tech of Stanton, and then the Pioneer in the keynote.
God, it looks good.
Yeah, he's beautiful. Yep.
I love he's like holding up on 2 rocks, and the animation just naturally does it, and it looks good too. Looks real good.
It's a beautiful game. I mean, the technology they've come up with is really impressive. They've really stretched that game engine to its, beyond its limits.
I just hope it's not client-side. It will be server-side for everyone, and it looks good server-based.
Well, I mean, graphic-wise, it'll be client-side. It's all going to be rendered off your GPU and all that jazz, so...
Oh, I meant sort of like how the foot move and your guy resting upon the rock. Like, if I'm looking at you doing that same maneuver that guy just did on the rock, will it look as smooth?
I kind of hope it doesn't.
Like low impact, I think.
I hope that it's all client-side, so that if what you get from the server, hopefully, and I'm not a programmer, is the information of exactly where that player is and where they're moving, and then it just renders in your client the same animations that that player sees.
I wonder if they're setting up a system where when you grab that grenade off your chest, it actually has your character proceed to do an animation that looks like you're pulling it off your chest when you throw it. Because those are items. Like when you have items on you, those are item slots the armor has, and then you can put items in those slots, and then they show up. So the grenade, for instance, on his chest right now, that I love, it's got a little bit of its own little physics there, where it's moving just a little bit.
Little preview of the base system there.
Yep.
Kind of cool. That looks good too. Yep, there's the base in the background, that modular system.
Another big question is, will we be able to put our corporation symbols and emblems in the game.
Eve's mining is fun. Tim, what are you talking about? Eve's mining is the most boring thing I have ever done in video games. It is next up there to paint drying. Unless you're ninja mining in low sec, it is walk up, click rock, hit F1, read a book. I used to do my college assignments while mining. So bad. So bad. That's why Star Citizen is actively trying to make it like a thing you have to do. Gameplay mechanics where you have to like scan the rock and worry about gas pockets that could blow up and explode and send you flying, and manage energy consumption. There's all these little mini game ideas that they have. It's actually a really good article. I recommend you guys check it out over on the Star Citizen website on how to make mining more interesting and skill-based to the player. Because remember, there's no skills like in every other MMO, basically, where you have to work up from 0 to 100 or AFK train them. It is player behind the stick, behind the throttle, skill, and experience that gets you the credits. It's one of the big draws for me. Ninja mining gas. See, now that's fun, but that has nothing to do with the mechanics of mining itself. That's more worried about other players kicking the crap out of you and running in and trying to grab as much as you can and run out before somebody spots you. And even that is a lot of like staring at your overlay and waiting to see if a target pops up so you can run. Which is, I guess fun. But if you're looking for that kind of gameplay, look up Star Citizen's. I think it was an article, and they might have done a video on it, talking about how detecting ships is going to work, like the energy readings that come off ships, the heat signatures, and how that you'll be able to use that to your advantage to hide. And certain ships are really good at doing that. The Terrapin being able to actually vent its heat through that weird module thing that it has on the top, the turtle ship, I call it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So I just wanted to say,
avoiding PvP can be just as fun as being in it.
I just wanted to say a few words here about what you
that rush of like even jumping into a new system. You think, is anyone here? Or do I have to be on the lookout?
Yeah,
and that rush of I'm on edge.
And the idea of having no local chat, so you don't know if there's anybody in the system. You don't know if there's pirates waiting in that asteroid belt in Star Citizen. Hopefully, the way they do it. I always hated local. I thought local in EVE Online always removed a lot of the fear. Because you know if there's anybody in the system, and as soon as somebody would pop up in a system, because their little icon would show up in local chat, a lot of like the miners would just be like, "Oh no," and run away, and to wait until you went away in low sec or in zero space, and pop back. So that can be a lot of fun as long as there's something that you can lose.
That's the problem. You always got to think: is there something you can lose, or you can show, "Oh, I'll get the insurance payment now." But anyway, because if there's something you can lose, you're adding that whole aspect of I've really got to be on edge here. Like your heart's about to fall out your mouth, for example. Like you just wait for something to happen when you're sitting there quietly mining away.
Well, but I'm not the kind of person though that I don't know that I can handle the amount of stress that full-on EVE concept of loss can bring. I mean, because EVE, you can lose everything. You can lose hundreds of dollars worth of materials and ships and that kind of stuff. And that's just part of the game. And that's a valid way of designing, but that's not the game that I want to play. I'm not interested in dropping $300 in real money in game time on a ship and then having it stolen from me by somebody else in the organization.
Right. There needs to be for me, there needs to be a balance in, I definitely don't want to die because I will lose something valuable, but at the same time, I also don't want to have the last week's worth of gameplay effort disappear, right? So there has to be that middle ground. Because then you get the issue with people not wanting to risk stuff. That was always a thing in old UO, where it's like nobody would take their good stuff out because PvP means that they could just easily lose it. So all you would ever see is people in the most crap gear or not willing to risk those capital ships unless they were in overwhelming numbers. And that's not fun. That's not fun. Sometimes you want to get out there and just do something stupid and not feel like you're going to be so punished by that concept of just playing the game.
Is that part of what LTI and the whole insurance system is really kind of designed to sort of control, though?
Hit him in the wallet?
That was
kind of thing?
No, I mean, no, just more like, okay, so people are more likely to take risks if they make a mistake and their ship gets exploded. They know that they have insurance on it and they're able to get that back. Versus people never leaving base unless they have overwhelming power.
Going back to your point of hitting them in the wallet, like I just had the thought about, like, oh, for example, if Armco has a rival corporation that we just don't like them. So how can we hit them in the wallet? Like, say, taking out their larger mining ships, per se, or their transport ships, taking them down, be just as rivals. That'd be interesting as well.
Yeah, for sure. How's that all going to work? That's when we get into like the larger mechanics that they just haven't really gone in, because I don't think they know. They've had ideas. They put out videos in the early days of the Kickstarter where it's like, here's how the economy is going to work. But a lot of the systems have really shifted away, not away from that, but haven't really focused on that in a long time. Because they used to talk about like, oh, the more that people trade and in one area, the richer that area can get, and say there's this horrible thing that happens in another area and there's a lack of water, now you'll be able to transport water over there, and the server will keep track of all this stuff in the background. So you have this idea of an economy, but now it's yeah, they haven't talked about it in a long time, but it seems like they want to go even deeper with it. Now there's buildable bases, like players can have their own HQs on moons and planets. How does that work? How is that going to affect the economy? Or is that just, yeah, I don't know. What is going on with the stream right now?
I was going to say, what on
they
earth
are having
symbol?
issues.
Top 10
they
broadcast
can't figure
moments.
out what they want to do. Yeah,
I remember watching this
They've
live.
started
This
it
was
3
good.
times now.
We streamed this one. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah,
Mason were chatting about this one.
I guess I want to go on the record as saying I am excited about Star Citizen. I do want this game to succeed, because while I was bringing up the criticisms of it, and I'm in a game now where I have to manage my own levels of excitement because it's been so long, the development process, that I try not to let myself get too hyped up at any point, because it doesn't look like it's going to be available anytime soon. And I want it to be. I want to play the game that they keep showing me. I want this game where the walking animations are this cool, and you can start on a world and you can take off into the air, take off, and then you can head out into space and all that jazz. That's the game I want to play. That's the reason why I've supported it.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Well, hey, 3.0 planets, flying around, trade, like a lot of those really early core mechanics that we need to see. Hopefully soon. I mean, we were talking about maybe it could be released at the end of the keynote today.
No.
We don't think so. We haven't heard anything about it. They're still fixing bugs. But if not, probably by next month, by end of next month, we should be playing it, right? So hopefully.
We can start off them amazing community events where we're all sitting in a lobby trying to get into a server.
Yulmus asks an interesting question. Talking about the market and the low risk, our dear commenter's wishes, do you guys oppose market scams? This is kind of a very EVE Online question. Is it not responsibility of the player to read the small text as well as the rest? I'm assuming you're talking about in-game. I've always been of two minds of this. EVE Online had, and continues to have, players figuring out really underhanded ways of making money in the game, and underhanded within the universe. And the developers have always said, if you're willing to give your money over to somebody and you don't understand, you don't double check what you're buying, or you've bought into like I don't know, there's all kinds of different scams that people have come up with in EVE. Even up to like betting fraud and stuff in tournaments and whatnot. So, and this is all with ISK, mind you. So this is all in-universe stuff. As long as it's not taking advantage of limitations of the game, right? Like UI elements that aren't clearly specifying what it is you're doing. If it's within the universe, within the realm of the world space, and not just in the realm of the mechanics that happen to be broken and people are taking advantage of it, then yeah, it's buyer beware when it comes to stuff like that in a kind of gritty universe, sci-fi universe.
But I think the flip side absolutely needs to be that the game and the developer should never lie to the player.
Yeah, no, that's outside of, I'm talking about in-game. You play a scummy character, that's the character you role-play, and you figured out some type of crazy scheme to make money in, like people do in EVE all the time, then all right, whatever, that's how you want to play, that's how you play. That's up there with like playing as an information broker or a bounty hunter kind of deal. But if it never should be outside the world space. It never should be for real money. It never should be for that kind of Risk. Yeah, the ISK scams in the back of the day.
Like, and you got to think about the politics system that's in Eve. Like, every now and again, you see the big articles that say, "Oh, this corporation's lost billions of ISK in a massive scam that someone's done because there's been a bit of corporate espionage."
Those are always
which has
fun
a real
stories.
world value. Which has a real world value because you can trade ISK and you can buy real world game time that can be sold and traded with ISK.
Mm.
And I hope that Star Citizen avoids that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I never want to
Like the
get to
plague.
the point where you can buy credits. Well, I guess you can buy credits out of game with real money. I don't know. I think that's a slippery slope there.
Yeah, it'll be see how it is when it comes out. When it comes to like buying resources in the game, they're gonna have a direct credit cash transfer. I don't think they've talked about that. I don't know, because I know I've got like rental credits that I have as being a subscriber, but that's just to test out gear and equipment like off the market for the alpha. That has nothing to do with the release.
Well,
So-
for one thing, they're not selling game time because there's no subscription model. Your subscription is buying a ship to get access to the game.
One-time payment system.
One time.
You're in. MMO,
And they're-
constantly supported.
And their financial model is I'm assuming that they're going to continue making content and selling LTI versions of Craft to continue funding the development of the game and to pay for the upkeep on servers that make it the multiplayer possible.
What are your guys' opinions on subscription as a income model? I'm curious.
It depends. Like, if we've seen MMOs go one-time payment before, and then they eventually end up subscription-based, and then eventually the free-to-play model comes in. I would love for Star Citizen to play it as it is. Like, once you've got yourself a ship, you're in. And if you've bought the certain packages, like if you bought the Star Marine package or the Customer Watchman 42 package, sorry, you're in. You've done it. You've done your one-time payment. If they ever did make an announcement for subscription-based, they shouldn't go along the roads of, as Tex was saying earlier, about using in-game cash to buy game time. If they did go to subscription, they better have a good reason for it. But
No, yeah, I'm not saying that they would ever do it because they've advertised this as buy it, you're done, you own it. I'm just curious what your guys' because it's kind of a dying model. You don't really see it in MMOs anymore. Very few MMOs, even old ones. Eve is the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe Final Fantasy still has it, I think, for MMOs. That subscription model where you pay like $15 a month.
Yep, that does, yeah.
I thought World of Warcraft still had a pay model. They have a free version, but you can pay for enhanced.
And WoW's got it, okay. But like all the old games, they've switched over, or they've just flat out died. I've always held the opinion, the unpopular opinion, that subscription models are the best models for MMO development because it keeps the developers focused on making a game people want to continue to play, and not on the next item they can put on their store page. Because we see that a lot. I'm looking at you, Guild Wars 2. I'm looking at you, Star Trek Online.
I would have been happy to pay a subscription for Star Citizen for the persistent online, but that was before they started selling ships and other properties from it.
That's the trick,
They've already gone down the free to play value added model. And once you've done that, you can't really backtrack and go, okay, so we know that when we sold you guys these ships, we promised that you'd have access to the game forever. But we need to be able to afford to maintain the servers, and the people buying ships have gone way down. So now we're going to charge $15 a month.
They'll never do that. I couldn't see it. There's no way. After advertising the way it is, I wouldn't see them doing that. I wasn't really thrilled on the idea of them selling ships when they first were like, yeah, we're going to sell ship models. Okay. We're not even sure how like your sandboxy elements are going to work, and you're going to sell us ships? Or have like an idea of what these ships do in the universe?
They were selling ships you didn't even know the specifications on yet.
Yeah.
You didn't actually... They sold ships that didn't even have in-game models yet. Just like artist concepts.
Many ships that still don't have... That are just artist concepts that we haven't seen yet. So... I can't say anything. I bought some of them.
Oh yeah, I did too. I mean,
oh yeah, we all did. We're all
leap of
criminals.
faith.
We're all criminals.
We all got real excited. I'm still excited. I mean, don't get us wrong. We wouldn't be streaming and talking about Star Citizen if we weren't excited to play it.
Oh, right? I'm looking forward to playing the game overall, whether it's just being by myself, just in Connie by myself. But I'm looking forward to the group play, getting a few people together on a night and just going to do some. Just say, oh, come on, let's go and see what missions are on the mission board or something like what needs to be transported where.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, let's go and make some hardcore cash.
In this a game with this graphical fidelity, this focus on immersion, which is awesome, like the micro level of detail, which I've been wanting an MMO to do for so long, and they never do. It's always focused on the questing system or the dungeon running system, and never like making the world space feel like it's alive and that you can interact with it besides trying to stab it with a sword or shoot it with a gun. Which is why Star Citizen's super exciting, and we're all talking about it. And they're still what? So we said what? 11:30?
Let's see.
We've had different times so far.
Yeah, the times are all over the place. They started an hour late, guys, so the schedule is off by an hour.
It could be 3:30 your time, or it could be 4 o'clock your time.
The stream was supposed to start with the opening address at 8 a.m. Austin time, which was actually 9 a.m. when they started, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 9 a.m.
So if that holds, then it's not going to be until 13:30 CST before they start the Pioneer panel.
Oh man, 13:30 CST.
So yeah, 2:30 your time, 7:30 Blitz's time.
All right, so we got some time, guys. So all right, what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we'll end the stream here so I can go make some breakfast, and then if you guys are around and willing, I really want to see the Pioneer panel. So I'm definitely going to sit down for that one, because that's the ship, that's the base building ship that you guys were talking about like first thing this morning that I'm pretty pumped for. I want to hear about those mechanics. Hopefully it won't be just about the ship, and be about how that ship interacts with the rest of the universe and how it fits in with the rest of the ships and the organizations. So I don't know if you guys are going to be around for that, but
we might be able to get Mr. Wasted Space to join us too. I know he had some prep work for some of the filming we're going to do today, but depending on the timing there, we may very well be able to drag him in for the really cool part.
That would be awesome. Definitely. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to end the stream here. No, we won't be streaming all day. We'll be streaming on and off. I'll be streaming on and off. You guys are obviously welcome to join in. We can chat about Star Citizen. So, all right, guys, see you later this afternoon for the other panels once they start up. Later, everybody.
And knowing what angle we start procedurally adding